Alright, so yesterday I shamelessly stole an Anthony Fantano format. I'm feeling a light 4 on this tweet. I asked the people on Twitter, the good Twitter warriors out there, to hit me with their hot and controversial SF6 takes. And I basically said it can be about anything, characters, whatever, moves, mechanics, etc. And we're going to do a little bit of a run through, see what people are saying, see if there's any spicy opinions to agree with or disagree with. So Rap says the soundtrack overall sucks compared to older ones, but it's what we deserve for hyping up hip-hop, Third Strike style, also due to nostalgia goggles. I don't think the issue, like, I have a lot of problems with the Street Fighter 6 soundtrack. The thing is, it's not the fault isn't with the fact that it's a hip-hop soundtrack, the fact that it isn't a hip-hop soundtrack. It's that worst possible kind of, like, corporate hip-hop, which uses kind of, like, vaguely urban aesthetics, and, you know, it's like pictures of, like, graffiti and undergrounds, and it sort of borrows imagery from hip-hop, but it's not, there's no edge to it. It's like the elevator music equivalent of hip-hop. That's my issue with it. Knowing all 4 DLC characters in advance is anti-hype. I agree, but the only person that we have to blame for this is ourselves. I don't think Capcom wanted to reveal the DLC characters early. The reason that we knew the DLC characters in advance is because they leaked. Do you guys not remember this? They literally leaked with the, like, as soon as the roster came out. So, like, what choice did Capcom have? Pretend the leaks don't exist, or just go, you know, screw it, I guess we've got to reveal them. Everyone was leaked. So I agree that it is anti-hype, but that is entirely the fault of the leakers and the community for spreading it. That is not Capcom's fault. Drive Rush and Drive Rushed moves should be a punish counter state. I've actually seen a lot of people say the same thing, and I agree, but I actually would go further than that. Right now, I feel like a lot of people are concerned about Drive Rush, and the suggestion for making it more risky, especially raw Drive Rush in neutral, is to add a punish counter state. I would go further than that. I think it should be a punish counter state, and I also think you should lose extra drive gauge for it because of how skewed the risk reward is right now. Like, if you go for a drive impact and I counter it with my own drive impact, you lose a total of, I think, 2.5 bars of drive gauge for the cost of your DI plus the amount you lose from getting counter DI'd. So, like, you should be willing to lose 2.5 bars of drive gauge every single time you go for a drive rush. It should be a similar risk reward to drive impact, 100%. Throw loops can stay, but should absolutely have a meter cost to initiate a loop. At the moment, there's too big reward for too little commitment. There's been a lot of back and forth about throw loops in this game, and my position on throw loops is that I want them gone, but not because they're broken. They're not overpowered, they are relatively balanced within the system mechanics, but I just want them gone because I think they're extremely boring, both as a player and as a viewer. They're uninteractive, it's just coin flip into coin flip into coin flip. It's just not like, there's no real levels to it. Once you figure out how to do a throw loop versus like a shimmy, at say, I don't know, diamond rank for example, there's no like next level that you can take that mix up to. The mix up is exactly the same at like every level of play after that. There's no extra mind game to it. It's just boring coin flip gameplay. So I want throw loops gone, but not because throw loops themselves are powerful. Because it's just because they're just, yeah, boring. SF6 is the best vanilla of all the SFs. Fight me. This is the least controversial take I've ever seen in my life. I'm actually going to ban you from ever participating in a Let's Argue ever again for saying the most middle-of-the-line, uncontroversial statement ever made. That is the definition of an ice-cold take, I'm sorry. It's true, you're right. That's not a hot take. Come on. Come on. Okay, Inspector Geek asks, is it too soon to discount modern controls as competitive? Yes. In short, it is. Now, I think modern controls are worse than classic controls. I do not think you're going to see a wave of modern control success competitively. Despite, like, we'll see occasional little moments of modern control success. Like, on day 1, Takedo was playing modern controls a bit. There was a recent thing with, Haitani went on a huge win streak with modern controls. I think Shuto uses modern controls a little bit. But these examples are not the norm, they're the exception. So I think if anyone's going to get really good with modern controls, it's not going to be a legacy Street Fighter player. It's not going to be someone who was good at Street Fighter 4 or good at Street Fighter 5 switching to modern. I think about 2 or 3 years from now, you're going to see a lot more success from modern controls from players who are starting now, who got in at the ground floor and are learning with modern controls as the default. Yeah, right now there's a 12-year-old Fortnite player who just bought Street Fighter 6 because their grandma got them the wrong game for their birthday, who's about to completely change the face of competitive Street Fighter in 3 years' time. JP is the blandest fucking zoner I've seen in my life. His combos put me to sleep. His game plan puts me to sleep. Everything about him puts me to sleep. SF4 Fireball Wars were more entertaining than his entire character. I mean... Look, I'm a JP player, okay? I think he's cool. I think he has some really cool stuff. I like watching JP as a JP player. But they're kind of spitting. They're kind of spitting. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of those things where I don't want to agree. I don't want to agree with it. But I kind of do. I appreciate the hater energy at least. You can tell this person has been traumatized by Pierce. Go, Pierce. You cretin. I respect it. Even if I can't agree with it, I respect it. Sam says Luke and Jamie should make out. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Let New Peeps Enjoy Chainsaw Man, good name, says, the fact that this is the first post-SF3 game in the timeline, and we've gotten very little of that cast or only snippets of how they're doing is really annoying. I agree. 100%. Street Fighter has had this thing where they've been very apprehensive about setting anything after Third Strike. They keep shoving games in that gap between Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 3 generally. And they don't like having any post-Third Strike stuff, so I was actually kind of excited for a game that was finally set after Third Strike. We can see what those characters have been up to since then. And it's a little bit weird to then go into the first ever post-Third Strike game with absolutely no Street Fighter 3 content. We've got no characters in the base roster, no DLC characters from Third Strike. The plot has absolutely nothing to do with Third Strike. The villains aren't there, Gil is not doing anything, all of these characters have disappeared off the face of the planet. Street Fighter 6's story mode is kind of like a soft reset for the series. It's kind of like the Mortal Kombat 1 thing. I guess Capcom's thinking is that so many people have been turned off of Street Fighter by the poor reception of Street Fighter 5 that they kind of need to reset things a bit with 6 and just like assume that this is going to be a lot of people's first Street Fighter game. So we have to make things like fairly separate from the franchise history and kind of like a good jumping off point for the rest of the games. Cody Travers says, I deserve more damage for landing these fucking perfect parries. Wrong. Incorrect. No, you do not. I used to be on this wavelength during the first beta. During Beta 1, I was like, perfect parries kind of suck. They do no damage. Like, this doesn't seem very good. You're going through all of this effort to get like a really hard to time parry, and your combo does no damage afterwards. Like, this seems kind of crappy. And then things kind of advanced, and perfect parries are so low risk to attempt and so high reward. Not in terms of damage, but in terms of completely stealing momentum and potentially stealing the corner as well. That, like, the way they're balanced now, some people even think they're too strong right now. I don't think I would go that far, but I have seen a lot of people say that perfect parries are something they actually don't like about the game, because it makes tapping parry in strings way too easy to just reverse the momentum of a round. Like, one tap parry on a guess could potentially just steal the entire round from a momentum change. I definitely do not think they should be any stronger. I'm not sure they should be weaker. I think they're in a good place right now. I like perfect parries as they exist right now. I think they're pretty well balanced, to be honest. I'd keep them as they are. Yeah, I know Punk hates perfect parries. Quite a few people, I think Leffen said he doesn't like perfect parries as well. There's quite a few people that don't like perfect parries. Split Screen TV says, the World Warriors will always be the least interesting characters on the roster, and I'd be happy never seeing them again. I kind of agree. I kind of agree with that. I think Street Fighter 6 seems to be setting the stage for the next generation of Street Fighter characters. You know, we've got Lily taking over the reins from T-Hawk. Chun is training up Lee Fen as like the next generation. I think even Dalsim is training up an apprentice. Not all of them are playable, but I like the fact that Street Fighter 6 is putting in the groundwork that we can eventually get the next generation of Street Fighter characters. Because at a certain point, these characters aren't that interesting. They were designed in the 1980s, and their entire plot line is like, we hate Bison. Well, Bison's dead now, so like the characters have nothing to do narratively. Bison's dead. Get over it, folks. He's dead. Find a new thing to complain about. I just want to see the next generation of characters. You can keep their playstyles and add a little bit extra. That's what I think the best thing to do is. Don't completely get rid of them. Don't pull a third strike and just axe every single archetype that people like. Just introduce like the next generation. So like Chun-Li's apprentice, if Lee Fen is in the next game, she can kind of have Chun-Li's overall playstyle, but add her own like unique twist to it. I think that's the right way of doing things. Like evolve the characters into the next generation. Melancholy Masters says, hot take, Ken isn't top 5. People just have poor reactions and refuse to lab Jinrai kicks. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. That's not true. That's just, no. Nah. That's not true. Ken, Jinrai kicks, I will admit, Jinrai kicks does get easier to manage when you lab it. Like, once I started doing delayed jabs, it becomes much easier to deal with. But Jinrai kicks is just like page 1 of the 200-page document I could write about Ken's strengths in this game. Even if Jinrai kicks was removed from the game outright, Ken would still be ridiculous. He's got an amazing drive rush. His normals are incredible. His EX Fireball lets him convert from anywhere. Dragon Lash is one of the only forward advancing moves in the game that's also plus on block. His Stand Fierce is potentially the best button in the entire game. Ken has so many strengths in this game that poor reactions and labbing Jinrai kick is not going to solve that character for you. You're not going to suddenly have a 100% win rate against Ken if you can check Jinrai. Armdevil says, everything about Luke is trash. His design, his intended purpose, his backstory, everything. They also made him deliberately busted so people would play him competitively to push him as Street Fighter's new protagonist. You are correct in Street Fighter 5. In Street Fighter 5, everything you just said is true. No one wanted him. He was obviously made intentionally the best character. Like, he was unlikable. He came across like an arrogant little Zoomer shithead. I didn't like Luke at all in Street Fighter 5. That being said, I actually kind of like Luke in Street Fighter 6. A little bit. A little bit. No, I don't love him. I won't go too far, but I like him a little bit. And a lot of that does come down to Alex Lee, Luke's voice actor. I kind of have warmed up to Luke a little bit, almost entirely through Alex Lee. I found it a little bit corny at first, but I don't know. Over time, I'm starting to warm up a little bit to it. Lizardman says, I think releasing Rashid before Evo sucks. There's been a lot of people who are... Look, this one's got 75 likes. This is a popular one. I disagree. Strongly disagree. I think this whole controversy about Rashid coming out before Evo is a big nothing burger. So, for those who don't know, Street Fighter's policy for characters being allowed in tournaments has always been, across the whole of Street Fighter 5, 1 week. Like, a character would come out, and they would be tournament legal after 1 week. That has been the case for as long as I can remember. And Rashid is releasing longer than that. Rashid is releasing, I think, 10 days before Evo. So it's actually longer than the established minimum time period for DLC characters. And people are still pissed off about this. I don't know why. It's never caused a problem in this game, or in Street Fighter 5. Maybe the concern is that it might be a case where, like, Rashid is so strong that we end up with, like, a Tekken Leroy situation, and there's, like, I don't know, 7 Rashids in top 8. But I don't think Capcom are like that. There's no established history of Capcom ever releasing a character that was so ridiculously broken that you could achieve Evo top 8 within 10 days of release. There has never been a character like that. There have been characters that are very strong at release, but none that are so overwhelmingly broken that you can ruin a tournament after 10 days. Even Luke. Even Luke. Luke was not getting results in tournament after 10 days. He was top 1 on release, but he was not ruining brackets. For a character to actually place that soon after release, they don't have to just be like regular overpowered, they need to be like truly busted, and that's never happened in a Street Fighter game before for a DLC character. So I don't think it's an issue. But some people are pissed off about it. Doesn't affect me because I'm not going to EVO, so if Rashid is broken, God, you guys are going to have fun. All 7,000 of you. GG's, shake my hand. I'm going to leave it there for today. I think we had some spicy takes and also some ice-cold takes and everything in between. If you've got any hot takes of your own, let me know down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Also, please hit that sub button before I forget. But thanks very much. I'll see you guys later.